On September 22, 1995, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Company was born. It was initially a holding company, but would purchase both the Burlington Northern and the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe railroads. The two railroads continued operating separately until New Year's Eve, 1996. Since this merger was created, BNSF has operated over 32,000 miles of track, 36,000 employees, and over 8,000 locomotives. This map shows the entirety of BNSF trackage, including trackage rights on other railroads, which allow them to operate in the states of Utah, Nevada, Indiana, Ohio, and Georgia. Perhaps one of the most famous locations that BNSF operates in is Chicago. There's no shortage of trains, and already as we enter the city, we're greeted by a CTA subway. We're on the BNSF main line in Cicero. Passenger trains from Metra and Amtrak also run through here. The three railroads put on a great show. Near the Metra station is an intermodal yard. Two diesels are switching flat cars as two crew members converse near our location. The flat cars are now pushed into another siding. F40PHs have played an important part of Metro for years. One of them is arriving to make a station stop. You may also notice that some of Metro's passenger cars have BNSF logos. This is because BNSF owns a part of Metro. Metro is also owned by Chicago's Regional Transit Authority. As the passenger train leaves Cicero, two BNSF engines from General Electric run light. They too will be backing up into a different siding. A GP38-2 is also coming towards us. It will stop near the station before backing up to another part of the yard. Note the activity on the left side of your screen as trucks prepare to pull trailers out of the yard. .2259 is a former Frisco unit. Created in 1973, it also saw use on the Burlington Northern and has been part of BNSF since BN's merger with the Santa Fe. With the engine still idling, it's passed by a Metro passenger train, pushed into the station by an F-40.
BNSF train number 1252 to Chicago Union Station is now arriving. Please step behind the yellow line. BNSF train number 1252 to Chicago Union Station is now arriving. Please step behind the yellow line.
The 6 bi-levels are again underway as 182 pushes them to Chicago Union Station. Now we see why 2259 was waiting. It has to go onto the same track where the Metro train was. In the background, another pair of General Electric locomotives has pulled in with another train. The pair that was running light backs in to couple onto another train. Finally, Amtrak makes an appearance. An SC-44 Charger rushes past with 4 passenger cars. Only one car in this consist is an Am fleet. We notice that the pair of engines which just arrived is still attached to the train, as the flat cars carrying containers follow the orange diesels. Some cars have been detached, and the two engines roll forward with 15 cars in tow. Engine 6868 has seen better days. The F on its front logo is missing, and graffiti can be seen on its side. 7532, on the other hand, is in better condition. It may be hard to believe, but 7532 is older than 6868. They are both ES44s. Another backup move is being made as 6868 and 7532 slowly push the 15 cars into another siding. We look up at the sky and notice the moon is still visible. An approaching metro train makes our camera shake as it comes to a stop. 189, another F40PH, pulls the passenger train out of the station. It will continue traveling west until reaching Aurora. The entirety of the run will be on former Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy trackage. BNSF has one more switching move with 6841 and 4635. These two were running light earlier, but now they're moving a string of empty flat cars. Not much is different between these two engines, with the exception of their liveries. 4635's paint scheme is known as Heritage 2, while 6841 wears the newer Heritage 3 scheme. The next day, we wind up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. A Burlington Northern caboose is in a siding with a few freight cars. We view the caboose and a train of center flow hoppers from a higher elevation thanks to a nearby parking garage. The locomotives are in different BNSF liveries. The lead unit is in the previously mentioned H2 livery. The middle engine wears the H1 livery, which was the very first paint scheme created by BNSF. Lastly, the modern H3 livery with the current BNSF logo. "25 years before merging with the Santa Fe, the Burlington Northern was formed by merging 4 railroads. They were the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy, the Great Northern, Northern Pacific, and Spokane, Portland, and Seattle. CB&Q was frequently called the Burlington Route, or Burlington for short. And with 2 other railroads in the merger having the word Northern in its name, it's easy to see why the new railroad decided to call itself Burlington Northern. Prior to becoming Burlington Northern, this line was operated by the Great Northern. Besides BNSF, 2 other railroads operate in this town. 5 railroads used to serve Sioux Falls. They were the Great Northern, Chicago and Northwestern, Illinois Central, Milwaukee Road, and the Rock Island. After the Great Northern became Burlington Northern, the other four railroads ended operations in Sioux Falls between 1972 and 1989. Back on level ground and on the other side of the crossing, two Jeeps approach us with one boxcar. A GP38-2 leads the train, while a GP39 is the second engine. GP39s are rebuilds of the GP30s. A few of these engines also operate on the Reading and Northern. Each of their units were former Santa Fe locomotives. The Sioux Falls Depot looks grand. We're continuing our drive through South Dakota. No trains are present, but we do see several track vehicles from R.J. Corman. Two more vehicles from R.J. Corman are seen replacing ties. There is also an 80-foot tall dinosaur. But of course, the best attraction in South Dakota is Mount Rushmore. 4 presidents have their heads chiseled out of rock. They are George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Next, we end up south of South Dakota in Alliance, Nebraska. An SD-70 Ace and Gevo are parked in a yard with several hoppers. More hoppers are seen carrying coal, as another pair of orange diesels pull them. We're driving east on Nebraska State Highway 2. A third engine brings up the rear. None of these freight cars are moving, but the dark clouds up above make the sky look impressive. We're alongside the Mississippi River. When you see this body of water, and you notice a Santa Fe 484 on display, this indicates that you have arrived at Fort Madison, Iowa. This water fountain is part of the Cool Mire reflecting pond. It looks wonderful with the Mississippi River in the background. From the pond, we can see a Santa Fe caboose, near a brick building which was also created by the Santa Fe. The building still stands proud as trains roll past. Fort Madison serves as a station stop for Amtrak's Southwest Chief. Another brick building is nearby, showing off its splendor. Here comes an intermodal with only one engine for power. Not many cars make up this train, so the ES-44C4 won't have any trouble reaching Chicago. BNSF has more activity for us to observe. This westbound train was witnessed from a bridge, going over the tracks. Fort Madison serves as a crew change point. This part of Iowa is the western end of the Chillicothe sub and the eastern end of the Marceline sub. The Chillicothe and Marceline subs were a part of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe. They allowed the Santa Fe to run trains from Chicago to Kansas City. Today, this is still done by BNSF, since they own both routes. The intermodal is slowing down. Soon, it will come to a complete stop to perform the crew change. That's the bridge we were standing on earlier. The rest of the trains during our visit will be viewed from the ground, but we decide to remain on the bridge to get a going away shot at the last few cars. We get another look at the Santa Fe caboose, then view another westbound intermodal with 3 diesels. Each engine is wearing a different livery, with the second engine being borrowed from Norfolk Southern. Like BNSF, Norfolk Southern was formed by merging 2 railroads. This was done by merging the Norfolk and Western with the Southern in 1982. 13 years before the creation of BNSF. This view is impressive. While admiring two nearby buildings, the intermodal can be viewed from a very far distance across the river. Just like with the previous intermodal viewed earlier, this one will be stopping to change crews. Unlike the previous intermodal, this train has DPUs in the form of another trio of General Electric locomotives. Another engine in the Heritage 2 livery is seen, while the other two wear the H3 livery. While admiring the DPUs, a train of autoracks sneaked past. We take more time to admire 2913, the 484 on display near the main line. This attractive engine may not be in operation, but there are two other Santa Fe steam engines like this that you can view pulling trains, 3751 and 2926. The driver in that black truck has been waiting a long time for the road in front of him to clear up. Many other motorists are waiting patiently for the intermodal to move out of their way. The crew change has been completed and the intermodal is underway again. While watching the westbound proceed onto the Marceline Sub, we noticed two more engines pulling the train in the opposite direction. The second engine is one of BNSF's 25th anniversary locomotives. As it sneaks past the intermodal, you can get a brief glimpse of several different logos: Burlington Northern, Frisco, Santa Fe, Great Northern, and Northern Pacific. It's not easy to see all the logos, but if you ever get the opportunity to see it, it's amazing. Now that the intermodal is gone, we have a better view of the empty hopper train. It is traveling north and will follow the Mississippi River to another part of Iowa called Burlington. Burlington hosts another BNSF main line. In fact, it's the same part of the former CB&Q line we visited earlier in Cicero. The two red signals are for trains traveling across the Mississippi River. They are not for the train of empty hoppers. An SC70 Ace, 8446, pushes the train as it travels north. We then view the pusher rounding the curve. Besides trains, Fort Madison also has lots of boats, and we view one on a trailer. We view the bridge that carries trains and cars. There are more boats in a dock near the bridge. The bridge swings open, and we view the deck used for carrying cars over the train tracks. One boat is moving out of the docks. We suspected that this boat required the bridge to swing open for it. As it turns out, the bridge was opened for a different vessel. Barges head south, and we view a tugboat pushing them while following the current. A smaller tugboat is viewed without any barges in tow. It could be acting as a pilot boat to make sure the barges, or the other tug, did not hit the bridge by mistake. More barges are witnessed as another tug pushes them south. As the tug pushes its cargo, you may notice no cars are driving across the bridge. Though trains are able to go through, the bridge is closed for cars because of maintenance work to the road. The bridge has swung back into its previous position and will now allow trains to roll across when they arrive. A jet ski is nearby, while the boat we were watching earlier goes back into its dock. Turns out the owner just wanted to do a refuel. Waves are being made by the small tug as its diesel engine roars loudly. In contrast, the big tug travels at a slower pace as it moves its barges downriver. One more BNSF train makes an appearance as 5 engines haul an intermodal westbound. What surprised us was the Union Pacific train. It wasn't known at the time, but Union Pacific has trackage rights on BNSF. The 4 engines are mostly General Electric, with the exception of an SD-70M acting as the 4th unit. They will go to Kansas City, then continue west on their own rails. We hope BNSF continues to strive and provide excellent freight service for another 30 years, and further into the future. Thanks for joining, and be sure to tune in for more exciting railroad action from Sean Bodine Productions. We're alongside the Mississippi River. When you see this body of water, and you notice a Santa Fe 484 on display, this indicates that you have arrived at Fort Madison, Iowa.